I have been traveling around like a madman for the past couple of months trying to visit every prefecture of Japan within a year. So today we're continuing on that journey, but I'm going to be changing my approach a bit. Hey there everyone, I thought today would be a bit more a chill type of video rather than a straightforward vlog. As we're approaching the end of the journey, there's only 3 more prefectures left to go that we haven't visited yet. And currently I'm getting ready to take the Shinkansen to Ishikawa. Specifically Kanazawa City. I got to say, with the constant traveling, as at this point we've been through 44 prefectures, I've gotten pretty good at packing and organizing it all. One of the big things is choice fatigue, especially when it comes to clothing. So the trick that really helps me here is to pick the shirts that I wear on each day, fold underwear and socks inside it, and stack them based on the day I want to wear it. So I'll keep grabbing the fresh clothes from the top. And as it's supposed to be a chill day, there isn't much planned. I got a nice hotel, and the idea was to enjoy it. A lot of the time, hotels are just to sleep in. But the current plan is to go to the hotel and relax. Not even do anything in the city, as today is going to be the main day where we do stuff here. Today we woke up pretty late, around 10 AM, and we booked the Shinkansen that leaves at 1 PM. Even though normally we take one that leaves around 10 AM. But why not sleep in? And even with all these extra hours of time that we usually don't have, we happen to be late again. More late than ever before. Just shows that the more complacent you feel with your schedule, the harder it is to follow. At times where it's felt impossible to hit the timing, it's honestly even been kind of easy. But when it feels like you have forever, you end up missing everything. Thankfully the Shinkansen leaves at Ueno, which is around 7 minutes away from us, so we arrived 6 minutes before the train arrived, and I even had some time to get a hot coffee from a vending machine. If you're visiting Japan, I definitely recommend trying out hot coffees or hot drinks from the vending machines or the convenience stores. They were my guilty pleasure, especially around winter time, and vice versa for ice drinks. I never used to like coffee with ice, I thought that was really weird, but coming to Japan during the summer, iced coffee is where it's at. I absolutely loved iced lattes. Also, I want to say that Shinkansens are great, like 100 times better than airplanes. They're much more comfortable in every single way, though the price for an airplane and a Shinkansen is around the same. And even though it feels like the airplane should be faster because going to a different place of Japan would take maybe 40 minutes to an hour, while a Shinkansen would take 3 hours, it really doesn't end up being faster, because you have to keep in mind, to go to an airport it takes an hour, then the security control is like 30 minutes, and because the flight is short, you can't really do much on the flights either, and you don't even have a lot of space to put your laptop properly because it's just way too small. And then when you get off, it's gonna take a lot of time as well because everybody leaves in front of you, and since it's an airport, it's far from the middle of the city, so it's just so much extra time that's wasted. While Shinkansens start from the middle of the city and go to the middle of the city. There's absolutely no security control, and since they're quite spacious, even the cheaper seats, you can put your laptop down and actually get some very quality work done. After 2.5 hours, we arrived at Kanazawa, a quick detour to the rental place next to the Shinkansen, and we're on our way to the hotel. The amenities are great, free coffee, tea, juice, and I guess the reason that I wanted to do this was because at a recent trip to Fukui, I remember there was a hotel that looked amazing. The only downside was that we had like 2 hours there, as most of the trips focus on getting everywhere we can and doing as much as we can in the city that we're in. So we end up spending all of the day just traveling around, arriving around 9 PM to the hotel, going out to eat, and then getting back around 10 or 11. I crank out the vlog, go to bed at like 1 to 2 AM, and then in 6 hours we wake up, wash up, and immediately start discovering another city. So I wanted today to be an exception. Just a home away from home. Away from home, if you consider that technically Japanese home isn't a home, as it's only temporary. After all, we have 79 days left on our journey. This is November 18th. It looked much better in the hotel, because I think because we're on the second floor, it's just another building on the side. One of the things I try to get out of the way as fast as I can is setting up my stuff. Usually that's the very first thing I do. It just helps with everything, as I don't have to deal with it later when I'm tired or just don't want to deal with anything. I've already done it so many different times that I kind of know where everything goes and I don't have to figure it out on the spot, aside from finding out the Wi-Fi code. And in terms of this hotel room, I really love the way the windows work here. Like, it's a bit weird to see straight from the bed into the bathroom, but it also makes it weirdly open. Plus, it gives me a ton of new ways to play around with the camera. One of my biggest frights when it came to discovering prefecture was that I wasn't really going to like any of them, or just have any big thoughts about them. As Tokyo is my favorite, and it was also at the very start, and when I started going through the prefectures, none of them really appealed to me as much as Tokyo. And I was afraid to be a bit of a very, let's just say, a basic person, as people like to make fun of tourists who go to Tokyo and don't visit anywhere else. But the more I visited other prefectures, the more I realized I just liked Tokyo. The other prefectures were nice, they were good day trips, maybe 2-day trips, but they just didn't have everything that Tokyo had. And I went through 30 prefectures, and none of them even came close to competing with Tokyo. I know Osaka, Kyoto, Nara, Kobe, it's a very touristy stuff. They're the most touristy places, a lot of people recommend you to go there, but they just didn't appeal to me that much. I felt like I wouldn't have missed anything if I didn't go there. And especially if you come here as a tourist and you have a limited amount of time, it feels like a lot of time to be spent on traveling rather than just getting in the vibe of Japan. But thankfully that changed when we went to Fukushima. Well, the prefecture itself wasn't the most interesting, and honestly, I wouldn't really recommend it to tourists as it doesn't have the most things to do there. The locals were incredibly, amazingly friendly. The entire prefecture felt like going into a friend's house. And quite a few prefecture afterwards, I went to Sapporo, and that became my second favorite prefecture, next to Tokyo. And then last month, when we went to Nagasaki, I have to say it's one of the prettiest prefectures I've seen in Japan. So even though I feel like I don't have the most basic ideas of Tokyo or the same ideals I look for, like a lot of other people, there's thankfully still cool stuff here that I can still appreciate. I plan on doing a more in-depth review of the prefectures in the future, though I might have to reconsider because I'm not sure. I mostly spend one day in the prefectures and I try to do the main things, but I'm not sure if it's enough or not. And even more surprising is how good this current city is. I'm a bit sad that we didn't spend more time here, as I found a random yakiniku place and it was the best one I've had this far. The cuts were great and the price was pretty cheap, and the menu had so many different tasty things. The choice of meat wasn't the biggest, but I kept ordering the same thing again and again. I would say this yakiniku place for me in Kanazawa is the same as Okafe is to me in Kyoto. If I come back to this prefecture, I'm definitely gonna have to visit that place again. Great food, good service, plenty of options, and I have to mention how I love places like these where you just scan a QR code and the menu pops up. One of my pet peeves is servers who come to ask if you're ready to order and you aren't. So you tell them, give me like 1 more minute, and when you're finally ready, they're nowhere to be found for like the next 10-15 minutes. And I know it's not the fault with the servers, that's just how the service industry works, but with an online menu, there's no downtime. You don't have to memorize what everybody's getting, you can just add it to the basket. Plus they have pictures for everything, which is always greatly welcomed. And of course the day isn't complete without some work being done. I'm not sure what happened during dinner time, but I felt like everybody just kind of activated. And I had 6 more projects to handle, even though it was supposed to be a calm day. So while I thought I could play some Balatro for the first time in ever, I just got to handle some other projects instead, while still doing some stuff that was a bit relaxing. And if it wasn't too obvious, today's content style is brought to you by Blacktail Studios, a very chill woodworking YouTube channel. Highly recommend checking them out, even if you don't care about woodworking like me. They're more of a craftsman who builds something interesting while talking about life stories which fit in really well. They're also bold, so if that helps in any way. Either way, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.